This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, October 31st, 2017. It's Halloween, episode 146. And a good evening, everybody. It's Halloween here. It's Infection, the survival podcast. Hope everybody's having a great evening. It is October 31st, 2017. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. In the past couple weeks, it's been almost nothing about news. It's just been banter for an hour, 2 hours.
Like the first hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. This is Infection. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. You can check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. Happy Halloween to you, Brian.
Yes. Merry Halloween to you.
Merry
well.
happy Halloween.
Yes. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or you're more than welcome, go check out my blog, Bite of Tech, with an I, of course, with an I, biteoftech.com. Also, if you want to go to our website, infectionpodcast.com, we have nice little links on the right-hand side. One to get into our Discord, which is the main place where everybody communicates. We have one for our YouTube channel. If you want to catch past episodes of our show, we have a playlist on there, which has all 100, we'll have, as of the time you're probably listening to this, all 146 episodes plus some extra content. And then we have our Steam group, which gives notifications throughout the week. So we have one on Tuesday.
Couple on Tuesday, maybe.
That shows the show notes. The show's going to start. And then we have one sometimes for the Friday night game night that we'll do notification for, just saying, hey, we're going to play this game and you're more than welcome to join us. So of course, we then also have our podcast links. So if you're on an iPhone or you're using an Android phone, maybe you want even a notification by email saying that the new episode is out. You can click on one of those and get notified. And then on there, we have all of our show notes. So for all the episodes that we've done, we have a full link there with our show notes that has all the different topics, the different links that we're referencing throughout the show. So I would encourage you, if you're listening and you ever miss something, or you're wondering, where we got that information, go check out our show notes on the website, because there's a lot of information there that some people might find helpful.
Yeah, I mean,
if you want to go look at all 146 tips of the week /tips of the week
/tip and tips of the week.
Yeah, so tips and then a /tip, which usually includes more than one tip, anyways. But
yeah, I think we got a trifecta last week on tip of the week. Or maybe that was the week before. Well, I hope everybody's having a good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you are doing so live, we are here live every Tuesday. Maybe you're watching this on YouTube. We're here live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/infection podcast. You can tune in live. Brian gives away a couple games. You can interact. We will absolutely, if you make a good point, or if not a good point, either read your comment or bash you live on the air. So you can join in for that. It's twitch.tv/infection podcast for that. We got a whole bunch of news, Brian. But first, how was Game of the Week last week?
So it wasn't bad. We had a couple people there. Musty, Joe, and then
was Jonesy there?
Jonesy was there, yeah. And I think that was, and then myself. We're running around, and Jonesy showed up a little bit late.
Yes, he does.
But yeah, it was fun, but the game just frustrates me because it just seems like there's no structure to it. You just run and just shoot, and it doesn't make sense. Like when you're capturing a point, why do you capture a point? Like, why do certain things happen? Where are you supposed to go? It's a big mess. So I don't mind it for a while, but I can't imagine playing the game long term because it just seems like there's no order to the whole thing.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of a shoot 'em up. There's not really
but it's kind of big for a shoot 'em up.
No, well, not really. I mean, it's just,
the map is huge.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, it's just you just run around, you capture points, you kill things. That's kind of the. When I think of a game like that, I assume no story, and I don't look for a story. I just assume die. I will be died, and other people will be died by me. Like there's nothing more, and that's personally how I just think of a game like PlanetSide 2. When I load up PlanetSide 2, it's I'm going to shoot, people are going to die, I'm going to get shot, I will die. That's the extent of how I see a game like PlanetSide 2 playing out.
Yeah, and I don't mind playing it every once in a while, but it's definitely not one of those games that's like I'm going to go play that tomorrow.
No,
and it doesn't, like, I don't see any benefit. Like with Overwatch, you can have a goal. You're like, I'm going to get these crates, or I'm going to, something's going to happen. With PlanetSide, I don't even know what I'm aiming for. Like, I'm just running around and shooting. I don't know what I'm going to get next. I guess if someone's really into it, but there's people that are all these different levels, and I don't know the benefits of even like gaining a level. It just, I don't know. It's a pretty old game. It's had to have been out for 10 years or something.
Yeah, 10 years may be a little bit of a stretch, but it's been out for quite a while. It may even be 10 years, but it's definitely been quite a while since it's been out. Well, this week we are playing a game that we have talked about. Well, I haven't talked about it a lot per se, but it's been in the news. It's been relevant for.
It's only been 5 years, so it seems like a much older than 5-year game.
Yeah, it does. It
hasn't aged well.
It has definitely not aged well. It is not a fine bottle of wine that is aging. It's just not a good
sorry about that. I just had to.
No, I
was surprised. 5 years. It feels like a 10-year-old game.
I was gonna say 2011, but I was gonna it had to have been longer than 2011. That was only 6 years ago. But no, turns out it was just 5 years ago. So we have been talking about Fortnite on and off now for a couple of weeks. Obviously, the big controversy, we'll throw air quotes around that, mostly stirred up by, in my opinion, Reddit and Twitter and forums and Discord groups and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think there was really any high-level controversy there between PUBG and Fortnite, which is designed and built by Epic. And we talked about it for a couple of weeks, and this week's game of the week is going to be Fortnite. I know a couple of people in our group have played it, have played the actual game. It's because Fortnite's an actual game, and then there's the Fortnite Battle Royale, which is free to play, open to the public to play. So what we're going to be doing Friday night is playing the the Battlegrounds version of Fortnite. So if you're interested in playing it, which it seems like a lot of people are, I personally have not touched it yet. I don't think you have.
I played 2 games.
Okay, so you have played.
Just to kind of see what it was about.
And so we'll be playing that Friday night. You go ahead, get it installed, get it updated, and then join our Discord, and you will be able to play with our group. That's what we'll be doing Friday night.
Very good. Now, one thing that I'm thinking about, I'm still thinking about that PlanetSide 2 thing. So when we started H1Z1, PlanetSide 2 was only 2 years old. Pretty much. I mean, it's coming up on what, 3 years?
3 years.
Man, I just figured PlanetSide. At that point, I figured PlanetSide was really old. And that to them, that was practically a new product.
It was a new product.
PlanetSide 2 was practically new when we started playing.
It's not practically new. It was physically new. It was only 2 years old. It was a new product.
That's craziness. I thought it was one of the really old titles.
No, it's built on.
I just thought it was, and I thought they were trying to remake, trying to get some use out of all the stuff that they had from the PlanetSide 2.
No, it's built on the Forge Light engine.
Yeah, but that's a really old.
Yeah, but I'm saying like a newer version. I mean, it's some of the mechanics in the game are actually pretty good.
Yeah,
like some of the mechanics actually work quite well. I haven't played it enough to say that the game sucks. I actually like it. Every time we've played it, I've had a really good time. Unfortunately, I was at work this Friday night or last Friday, so I was unable to join. But I every time we've played, I think this is maybe the 4th or 5th time we've played it, and every time I've enjoyed it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I have fun with it for short periods of time. As I said, I wouldn't play it day after day, but when we play together, like if I were playing by myself, I'd be like, I'm going to go play something else. But playing with the group, I enjoy playing that game.
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely a group game. Definitely not a solo game.
Yep.
All right. Well, we've got a whole bunch of stuff, Brian.
Yes.
How do we want to start? Where do we want to start? What's the idea here?
All right. So, well, one thing, there was a Humble Bundle that came out today.
Okay.
That we'll have a link in the show notes for. That's the another one of their humble jumbo bundles.
Oh, these are good.
and and so usually they'll have some pretty good titles. One game that I knew we played for a while was just How to Survive. This has How to Survive 2, which I hadn't gotten yet, but we had talked about getting that. Wasteland 2 is the $10 tier of this. I actually kickstarted Wasteland 2. And if you're into that style of game, maybe you played the original Wasteland, but it's kind of that open world, overhead view, turn-based fighting type of a game. I played through a decent amount of it just because I kickstarted it, but it's not really my style of game. So if you're not looking, if that game, since that's the only one at that tier, that game doesn't interest you, there's a tier that's about $5.62 right now and below. You get How to Survive 2, and they're going to have some more games here in 6 days. The Kingdom, New Lands, Prototype 2, and then for the pay anything tier, there's New and Tasty, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Epistory, Typing Chronicles, and then Grey Goo. So pretty decent bundle for under $6 for the six titles.
There's one thing I do want to say, and obviously, of course, Humble Bundle is we're part of their affiliate program. All disclosed. I really hate this $2 Humble Bundle wallet for monthly subscriber things. That's just total bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they're turning lame bundles
because.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if some of the issues they've given these away in previous monthly ones, and so they're kind of giving you a little bit back for having already purchased that.
It's been 2 weeks in a row that these bundles have had that. I'm not a fan of that because it just seems like
I think they're just making that a standard now.
Well, okay, maybe they will do that standard with every single one of them.
If you're a subscriber, you view that as a positive because it makes your subscription $2 cheaper.
Correct. And if you're not a subscriber, it seems like you're getting possibly less games, or maybe a lower tier game, and you're not. How about just a $2 Humble Bundle credit for the store? I mean, what's the difference?
Well, that's what this does.
No, it's not.
It's $2 Humble Wallet credit
for monthly
if you're
subscribers.
A subscriber, you get $2. Yeah, but you get it as a credit for purchasing other games.
But what I'm saying,
take off from your.
What I'm saying is, if I'm not a subscriber, how about just give me $2 for the store?
Why though?
Because that's my point. Why are they giving it to you?
Why not just make it $2 cheaper?
I would be fine with that too. Make it $2 cheaper, and I just don't like stupid arbitrary things. It's $2 worth of their own stupid credit. They're not giving you anything.
They're trying to promote people to be a subscriber to the monthly.
I guess. I feel like I'm maybe getting less.
I bet if you asked them, they would say we're not changing the pricing or giving any less. We're just giving that as a bonus.
Well, hopefully, because it does.
I bet that's what they would say.
All of their bundles
but they should have clarified it.
I agree.
They should have clarified it when they started it. As this is not taking away or changing the level of games that we give you or the pricing that we set it at. This is purely a bonus on top of what would already be there. I mean, that would have been nice to hear.
Yeah, yes, it would have been. Because it's when I see something like $2 worth of credit, it just makes me think, like PH saying, $2 for us is like 50 cents for it. It's not. They're not really giving you $2 worth of stuff. I mean, they buy these games in bulk or get them from publishers and developers at bulk. If that's the reason that they're just putting that a part of everything, now great. And for the subscribers like you, Brian, it's fantastic. But I want to see, or I want them to say this is not affecting any of our bundles, because it just sucks that every time I look at the highest tier, one of the two things I get is grayed out. Just looking at what would be the word? Just not emotionally. Just by looking at it, it's just like, oh, there's I get two things for $10. One of the two things I can't use.
Yeah.
It's just a weird, human tendency.
I don't know. Yeah. I understand it, but we'll see. One other thing is they have the Humble Bundle monthly, and that one is Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the one where there's no monthly subscription to it, which is nice because if you played WoW, it's $15 a month on top of the $50 or whatever you paid for the base game. This one gives you Elder Scrolls Online, and then the Heroes of Skyrim as well. and then also Quake Champions. Those are the initial ones, and then that's under that they'll have the extra games that they give you as well. So the Elder Scrolls Legends, that's that card game, I think.
I believe you're right.
That's kind of their what's the one,
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone. It's similar to Hearthstone. I actually helped beta test this.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And it's very similar. Yeah, it's very similar to Hearthstone.
Yeah, I played.
Not quite as cartoony, more of the Elder Scrolls type of feel.
I played Hearthstone for a little while. Hearthstone's a very fun chillax.
Very competitive. I think it's changed over time because of with all the different cards and everything. It's very difficult for a person just starting out to really be competitive because it's really turned into do you have all these different cards? I mean, which is understandable, but it's turned into one of those where it's a grind to get to if you haven't been playing for a long time. But I mean, that's kind of true of any game, right? Any game that's online that's not like Overwatch or like one of these other ones where everything's, or CS:GO where everything's equal.
Yeah.
There's a grind to it to get caught up with people. So
absolutely.
But yeah, this should be releasing here in the next couple days. So if you're interested in those games, you need to buy them pretty quickly because sometime in the next week, this is going to be released and then you won't be able to get it. So you have to order it before this happens. So if you don't have Elder Scrolls Online, I'm thinking, I might get my wife to try it and then give her this one because I already owned it. So
there you go. And if you're interested in those links, you can head on over to our website, infectionpodcast.com/support and click on the big red Humble Bundle link icon, and it'll shoot you over to the Humble Bundle website, and you can use our code over there. Okay.
Yep.
Let's I ask you the same question again. Where do we want to go from here? We got a whole bunch of things that we can start off with. Anything in particular you want to jump into first?
So let's jump into PUBG first. Okay. I don't think it's going to take a long time because I think after this we have some things to discuss with the next topic.
So PUBG, I talked about this last week, or maybe it was the week before. This is the first time they've really pushed hard a test server build, like kind of on a larger scale. So they're doing test servers for PC version 1.0 of the game, which signifies to me, and Brian and I have discussed this a little bit privately. Well, that signifies out of alpha into beta. Is how I mean.
It's not final release. It's because they're going to continue to patch it.
It's out of alpha. Yeah. Is what it sounds like, or not what it sounds like. What it's to me exactly.
Yep.
So that's version 1.0 for PCs for the test server only. So they're going to be doing this here. They're going to be doing this. It says next week. This came out a couple days ago, so this will be next week. You'll see this. So sometime in November, the first week of November. And of course, a couple of the big things on here. The first thing is what we've talked about time and time again: vaulting and climbing. This is including jumping over those little walls that box in a couple houses, what look like little barracks, climbing walls to get up to second balconies of houses, climbing up multiple story buildings, and just being able to jump out, being able to jump out of windows, it will be a little bit easier. The key thing for me when I think of this is a couple of the houses in Battlegrounds where there's one entrance, or there's two entrances, but there's pretty much one entrance you watch from the top of the stairs, and nobody can be behind you. It would be physically impossible for somebody to get behind you. Now, the tables are completely turned. You are now, with this in place on the test server and when it goes public, if you are locked up inside of a house and somebody is coming towards you, you will have to watch every door and window that is in that house, because somebody could pop through any at least the upper story can pop through any window, any door, and pop up behind you. So I think it's really going to change that. Included in this beta build 1.0 for the test server is client server optimizations, changes in vehicle driving, which should be interesting to see what those are like, and then an overhaul of ballistics. So they said we've made some changes to some of the mechanics to make them more realistic and balanced. However, all the changes are not final. We need your feedback after testing. So again, the same thing that we've talked about with H1Z1 in the past, and we're hypocrites. Let me mind you, I'm a total hypocrite. I say go play the test server. I don't myself. But The only way this works is if people go and play the test server. That's how test servers work.
Because that's the concern, is they're making some pretty drastic changes.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be where, kind of like what H1Z1's constantly running into, where they put these things on the test server and they say, oh, once it's stable on the test server, we'll roll it out to final. No one ever really plays it. And so they don't find all these bugs. And they let it sit on the test server for a week, and then it rolls out, and people are like, oh, well, this doesn't work and this doesn't work. Well, that's because no one played it on the test server to find out. So with this, if they can get people playing on that test server, maybe they'll find that, man, we don't like the new ballistics. Like the new ballistics are horrible. It changes the feel of the game. That'll be your opportunity to say something about it before it gets released and before they're totally committed to it. And then you'll have the opportunity for them to maybe make some adjustments on the test server and decide, a different outcome of how that would work, or even with the driving changes. So I think those are big enough changes to where people will need to go in there and give them a try. Another thing in here, they do talk about the anti-cheat a little bit.
Yeah.
And so one thing they talked about is, so first of all, I'll start kind of at the beginning of that area. It says, for a very long time, our development team has been analyzing data from a large pool of users who show abnormal gameplay behavior to build a system that helps us positively identify cheaters. We're now able to use the system to identify and ban these users more proactively. Using the system, we have already identified and banned about 20,000 additional users in one day. So this is only a start. So on top of Battle-Eye, we will use a monitoring system to strengthen our efforts to prevent use of cheats and impose penalties on them. So we promise you that we will continue, because this has been a big complaint this last couple of weeks. Continue to do our best to find and ban people who use cheats. So, and one thing, if you checked out the episode of Hot Drop, he does talk about this a little bit, about how when you go there and do a report, in-game report for somebody, it says very clearly, we do not use these to determine bans. It's purely for statistics. So that report button in game was not used to determine bans. It was purely for gathering statistics, which is probably what they're talking about here. That's probably why they put the note in there that, someone's not going to get banned from you clicking report here. They were using it just to try to monitor the odd activity of those people. And maybe that's why we're seeing a little bit more activity as far as hackers, because they were letting them run for a while, seeing how they behaved and how they could come up with a pattern to detect it, right? Yeah. And then they went through and banned a lot of those people.
Now, what I would say is, I think that what you're saying maybe not misleading, but I think it needs to be described a little bit. You reporting somebody in game was not directly banning them, but if a user or a client popped up as a possible cheater and they had a whole list of user submitted ban reports, they would put the two and two together and determine a ban. That's how I would assume a system. That would be some type of.
That's not how they were doing. I mean, they ended up using the statistics to then come up with a system that was then able to ban. They weren't looking at the individual reports. So the only way you could report somebody was to go onto their website and fill out a form.
Interesting.
That was really a pain in the neck to do.
Yeah.
That was the way that you'd actually get an exact person banned or get that report. The one that was in game was purely for these statistics, so that they could just see, they could then try to follow those and see if they could figure out a way to detect that.
Okay, well that seems odd, but who knows?
If it worked, I mean, they got it to where it did 20,000 in a day.
Yeah,
if it continues that maybe that's good in the long run, rather than banning them. And I mean, you'd have a period of time where it seemed like there was more hackers because they weren't banning them, but if they were actually watching them and seeing what their clients were doing different than a regular client.
Well, I was talking to Ross this week, Ross from Discord, Ross Eraser, and he said something to the tune of, I'm fed up, I'm sick of this BS with Battlegrounds, I'm constantly getting killed by hackers, and he plays it a lot. So they're having that problem, Brian. They're not immune, and you've got a couple of charts here before we get into the next Battlegrounds topic. Do you care to describe what these charts show and describe these a little bit?
Yeah, this is an update of the player geography statistics.
Okay.
First of all, there's from over time, so from release up until now. If you look at the beginning of this, that's when the game released back in March, and you can kind of see there. So the ROW, that's rest of world. So that's the other statistic for everyone else that's not listed as a one of the primary countries. You can see the United States, it's fairly consistent growth up until this past month. And this has been the first time that it's dropped since release. So the number of players in the United States actually went down. It hit just a little over 1.5 million of the players were from the United States. And now it's probably about 1.3 million, I would guess, or yeah, about 1.3 million.
Don't step on my segment.
I don't know. It's pretty rough, but that's just the United States players.
Yeah.
That's not the overall. But if you look at China back in July started to pick up speed. They were just
middle of July, almost August. I mean,
so they were just above 500,000 in the middle of July. By the end of July, they had crossed over 1 million, and now they're just about to touch 6 million Chinese players by themselves. And you got to think 6 million Chinese players. There are now about 1.3 million US players, playing in the whatever concurrent players.
Yeah, 1.3 to 6.
So there's almost 6 times the number of Chinese players as the United States players. And some of these other countries, they'd be playing in different, usually like they'll play in Europe or they'll play in different zones. For some reason, we get a lot of Chinese people that come and play in the United States. So it'd be interesting to see how many are actually playing in US servers. But there's just a lot. It's the growth that we've seen, and we haven't been able to figure out like why is it or how are they getting so many players?
China.
If we look, it's purely China. All the other growth statistics are fairly normal for a video game that's successful. Consistent upward growth. But China was growing in 1 month's time. They were growing like 3 million. If you look at 3/4 of the way through September, up to 1/4 of the way into October, it went from 3.5 million to about 5.2 to about 5.2 million. That's insane. That's like 2 million growth in that short period of time.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, that's insane numbers for growth. And so that explains a lot of the incredible numbers that we have seen in concurrent players, in owners. And there's been talk lately of there being of China wanting, and I don't think it's going to happen, but China wanting to actually ban having official sales of the game in China because they said it doesn't fit their culture.
Well, it sure fits cheating quite well.
Yeah. And so actually that's one thing.
I don't really want I don't want to get into this, but I just feel the need to make it. It's our show after all. When we talk about like how crazy things are screwed up in the world and in the United States, the country of China bans things that they don't like, and they just poof disappear off the internet.
Yeah.
That very scary stuff, and especially scary for PlayerUnknown and Bluehole, and it was scary for H1Z1 and Daybreak as well, when you've got a game that, according to Steam Spy, which again we assume it's somewhat accurate, 17.9 million copies of the game. According to this chart, 6 of those 18 million are playing on are from China.
Well,
That's a very scary statistic.
Active players. This isn't even owner statistics.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Out of the 18 million sales, 6 million of those people in China are playing. I mean, it's almost half.
Yeah. Oh, at one time, yeah.
Yeah, that's almost half of the player base. Half of the total copies sold are just playing in China. So,
yeah,
very scary.
And now, one thing, if you look, so in the next graph that's there, that's the current owner statistics, and these are percentages, kind of similar to what I was saying before. But and then there's the players. 44.89% of the current players are Chinese. The owners percentage is 36.99%. The United States, 11.02 now percent of the players are from the United States, and then 14.87% of owners are from the United States. There's a lot of other, which could be a lot of speculation where that comes from. Could still be a high percentage of that is from China, since they just don't put it on their profile. But yeah, this is so about half of the player base right now at this exact time are from China. I mean, 45% roughly.
Now, the question is, and we've kind of had this debate before, how many of those 45% of active players from China are cheating? We've seen cheaters go up, of course, and I mean, you don't have to mince words about it. Chinese culture promotes cheating in video games. It's just what happens. This is what they cheat. I mean, there's no. I said this 2 years ago when we interviewed the Daybreak developers on the show. How are you going to deal with the hackers in China? And they locked and froze up like it was some bizarre question to ask. There is an issue with players from China and cheating. The correlation is there. I mean, we saw it in H1Z1, cheaters through the roof. We're seeing it now in Battlegrounds, and people that play the game every day are getting fed up and pissed off that they're running into cheaters a couple of games a night. What is the solution here, Brian? Yeah. You just ban the entire damn country? I mean, that's what can they do?
I mean, what they're trying. The thing is cheaters are a good business, right?
Yeah, they're great.
We kind of said this with H1Z1. A gaming company almost doesn't want to get rid of all cheaters, because if you look, there's a huge, when they have, let's say 25% of the player base is cheating, that's 25% of the player base that's buying copy after copy of the game.
Yep.
That's just, you could have 25% of the player base that are active cheaters, but the issue is that, okay, the rest of your player base isn't going to buy 4 or 5 copies of the game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm not saying that this is changing how they act at all, but that's one thing, is a big part of the economy for these games nowadays seems to be the fact that cheaters are in there buying copy after copy of the game, because you're getting 20,000 banned in one day, 60,000 banned, tons of large numbers of people banned on a regular basis. How many of those people are going to turn around and buy another copy?
Well, exactly. I mean, no, you're right.
It seems like a lot of them do.
Well, you're right, Brian. It's good business.
Where are all these people coming from?
How many copies of these games have I bought? One. I've never been banned. Yeah. I have one Steam account. Actually, that's not true. You and I both combined to buy a second copy of H1Z1. So we both own a copy and a half of H1Z1. But, I mean, and especially somebody like me, who doesn't buy any of this DLC skin BS, I am a one-time customer. They got money out of me 2.5, almost 3 years ago with H1Z1. That's all they got. That's all they're going to get. Now I talk about them every week, but I'm not. If they were banning me every 2 months and I was buying a new copy, I'd be a great customer. I'd be a fantastic customer.
Yep. And then that's the thing, is when those are banned, those skins disappear off the market. It makes the other skins more valuable. Then those cheaters are going out, because one thing you'll notice, a lot of these cheaters, when you see these videos, they've got decent skins. Either they've been around for a while, or they've been they're buying a bunch of skins for their fresh accounts. Well, either way, there's money going into the pockets of whatever developer. And so, that's the thing, is I know they want to ban enough to where it doesn't detract from the general playing, so that people don't stop playing the game altogether, right? But I think it's just become a part of the market. Of hackers are a part of the market now, and that's why they want to be careful, or they give you a 2-week ban initially, and then it goes up. So,
well, it's very interesting. Now I will hope that they will fall. If there's anybody that can solve, because you can't stop cheaters on an online game. Cheaters will evolve and get better and better and better and better. There's no way to stop it, but you can mitigate it to a point or dampen it down to a point where it's very unnoticeable. Even when we were playing this game months ago, early on in its lifetime, when there was 500,000 people or 300,000 or 200,000 people playing at any given time, there were still cheaters, but the number of them was so low, you didn't run into
the thing
on
is,
a constant basis.
let's say you take China at that point, though, you take the China player base, they were under 500,000 players back then when we were playing regularly.
That's what I'm saying. But there's still people cheating. So,
and you could look at this as, let's say a quarter of the players cheat from that area, which is still a ridiculously high number. You're going to notice that's still a huge number of players. Let's say 10% of them cheat. That's a huge number of players still. 10% of 6 million? It's a huge number.
It is. It absolutely is. But my point is, they're never going to get rid of them. You can't stop cheaters. No. The question is, you need to be able to control them to a point. And that's the question is, what's the point?
And they need to cut out, the thing is, they really need to cut out the most egregious type of cheats. There's no reason that there should be aimbots. There should be a detection of aimbots happening. Like if there's odd shooting behaviors, they should be able to detect that client side, or have something to detect that. I mean, we've got people on the leaderboards that have 20 kills a game averages. That's not normal. Like every single game they're getting 20 kills.
Well, Ross was saying in the leaderboards, it's the same stuff that was going on in H1Z1. Some of their names are QQ and then a whole bunch of numbers. Is there public leaderboards for that game? Or is it only in game? I'd be curious on seeing those.
Nope, I'll post it in the chat here. So
I haven't had a chance to look at that. Can you post that in the notes as well, please?
And so that's one thing that I noticed. There's people that have like 11 minutes played, and then they've got like their 11 minutes on that account total played, and they're on the top of the leaderboards. It's like, well, how's that happen? They're like in their one kill, because their kill percentage is so good because they're going in with a thing and just smashing people.
Yeah, there's a couple QUN accounts. 19, 23, 26, 27, 29. These are all just names. 30, 31 is a number. Like,
okay, but let's look at this. You see the little symbol that's next to it to the right of their name?
Yep.
What does it say for all those names?
AS?
For the first, yes. What is that for? Asia.
Oh, is that what AS stands for Asia? Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's there. So if you look at the top 34, or actually, 31,
now that I've scrolled down, I see EU and such. Wow.
The top 31 on the leaderboard are all from Asia.
All of them. Wow.
Yep. And you've got people that have played a total of 34 games, and they're in the leaderboard.
How about this? 27 games, and they fifth.
Fifth. And that means
fifth overall.
So they have a 90% win ratio. They get 90% in the top 10. Kill to death ratio, 85 kills for every death. And you're telling me they're not a cheater.
And they played 27
they've won
games.
27. They've gotten 27 wins.
So they've won every game they played.
They've won every single game they played. They've gotten 255 kills in 27 games. And you're not telling me that that's a cheater. Honestly, 255 kills in 27 games.
This is the same thing H1Z1 dealt with. And the question is going to turn into now, can PUBG deal with these cheaters before the player base says, to hell with you, I'm going somewhere else to play? People stopped playing H1Z1 because they were sick of dealing with cheaters over and over and over and over and over again. Every single time we loaded up King of the Kill and you were killed in a game, you were like, damn it, that mother effer is cheating because I popped my head out of a building and I'm dead instantly. Every single time that's what happened in H1Z1. And Brian, am I wrong?
Nope.
Constantly. You couldn't play.
And looking at the leaderboards, these are almost identical to what we were getting when it started picking up in China previously.
Now,
the exact same thing. that was happening with this.
Luckily for PUBG, there are so many more players than H1Z1 had that the ratio so far has not hit the level that it did in H1Z1. There's 2.3 million people playing this game at peak over the weekends. It's a lot of players. The chances of you being in a lobby with a hacker are low, but they're still high enough because, again, somebody like Ross, who I respect his opinion on this stuff. He plays this game all the time. When he is saying he's fed up playing the game because he's getting killed by cheaters, there's an issue. There's a huge issue. So PUBG and Bluehole have got to get this figured out because people will not play. If you asked me to open the game right now, I don't think I'd play.
If you look at number 2, 855 kills in 44 games, 855 kills in 44 games.
What were those numbers again?
So the number 2 there, the guy who has 44 games played.
How many kills?
855 kills, and there's 44 games.
That's an average of 20 kills a game.
He's gotten 32 wins out of those 44 games.
20 kills, average of almost 20 kills a game.
You're telling me he's not cheating? 32 of the total 44 games he's ever played in his life, he's won first place, and you're telling me he's not cheating?
As Joe and Matt are saying, DX Racer. Cheers for the win. Yeah, Corsair keyboards for the win.
I mean, this guy wins. He gets first place 72% of the time.
I mean, how can you compete?
Almost 73% of the time.
How can you compete? How can you compete?
They're cheating. I mean, what's the point?
Well,
honestly, when it gets to this, what's the point anymore?
Well, that's the problem. That's what they start running into is what is the point? It eventually hits a level where people stop playing the game.
I mean, if it's that blatant and they're able to do it and they're still listed, here's my issue. When they're still listed in the top rankings and they're obviously cheating and they haven't been banned. I mean, if you look here, there's a guy who is, he has 100% win ratio in squads.
Oh,
100% win ratio.
Perfect.
Oh, wait, no, I take it back. He has a 100% top 10 and he has a 50% first place. This is in squads win ratio.
Okay.
He's got a 80% top 10 rate, and he's got a pretty much 65% win ratio. And he's only played like 20 something games, and he's in the top list. So
I don't know.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you could go through this whole list here, and almost every single one of them, if they don't have 300 games under their belt, and they're pulling these numbers, they're probably cheating.
Well, see, and
there's guys in here that maybe have worked their way up to there.
The problem you have is, why are they publishing this? Brian,
it's embarrassing.
If
People
you
look at this and
on this podcast can just pull up that list out of nowhere, search it on the internet, pull it up, and look at somebody and say, wow, out of 44 games, they have an average of 20 kills per game. If you can look that up, then the people at Bluehole should sure as hell be able to look that up and just instantly ban that player. No questions asked. That's a ban and then ask questions later kind of player. And you know what? Is there maybe a really, really good player on this list that maybe get improperly banned? Probably. But I would make the argument that out of
305 520.
I'm aware, but I'm saying
305 520. He's got 999 kills in 25 games.
Oh wait, I got to do that one. What was that? 995?
999 kills in 25 games.
Oh, that's a 40 kill. Games, that's a 40 kill per game average. That's half of the players in the game.
So let's take a guess here. How many games of that do you think he got first place in out of those 25?
20?
23.
Shit.
He only let himself lose 2 games, or maybe he was against another cheater at the time. Yeah. So he has won first place in 23 games out of the 25 that he's played on that account. 999 kills.
So my question is, and again, I'll ask my question, posing it to you and to the people in the chat. If you can go and look this up, that person is 100% a cheater. I'll put my life savings on the line. And I can guarantee you that person is a cheater. That is not a legitimate user. Why are they allowed? Yep. Why is that not just an instant ban? No, and then you can appeal it if you'd like instantaneously banned. This leaderboard should be flipping over every 12 hours with bans.
Yep.
Completely wiped clean. Completely wiped clean. There's so many you
pretty much have a list here. You're looking for the list of hackers. Here you go. We got a whole list here. Is there a place we can submit this? I got some great statistics for you. I mean, I can promise you that nobody is getting 40 kill games.
No, I
23 times.
No, I can guarantee you as well. Yeah, that's not happening.
And if they are, I mean, you got to think this is a 100% match. That means for 20 something games, they have killed about half the people. And there's probably ones where they killed. There's probably ones, it probably isn't spread out as evenly. We're doing it if it was spread perfectly across all games. They have probably had some games where they killed 75% of the people in the game.
60, 70 people per game.
You can't move across the map and kill that rapidly playing regularly.
No.
There's no way you can physically kill that many people in a game.
Yeah, even to kill 40 players would be astonishing. Yeah, I mean, you're literally just, you have to see the thing.
You have to be speed hacking.
No,
you have to be aimbotting.
No, you don't have to be speed hacking and aimbotting. You need to know where the players are so you can go from player to player to player to player. That's the key here. You don't have to be
tough to get to them all before that many players died by other people.
True, but my point,
I'm saying, you have to be moving.
You do. But the thing is, you know where everybody is. You can just move from point to point to point. I mean, if you know where everybody in the map is, you could probably get to more people than you think. But nevertheless, they're cheaters. 100%.
Yeah. Well, and PH is bringing up, there's a speed hack in the game that's not detected. How is it not detected? It's so easy to detect that someone is moving at a rate more than possible by the game. Just ping it. Those clients are sending their coordinates to the server all the time. The server knows exactly how fast that person's moving. Why are they letting him move faster than that?
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that. Again, I don't have any experience in game development. I don't know what it takes. I don't know what it costs. I don't know how you go about doing that, but it seems like you'd be able to track those somehow.
Yeah. They probably are tracking. They have to dedicate the resources. And I think a part of the issue is they've been trying to get it to where on the servers that they have, they can get the game to not lag. And, and that's kind of above and beyond type of a thing. I think if they can get the servers optimized where then they have some extra resources to say, all right, now let's also detect this, do that. Roll some of that. Now that you have the clients to optimize more, roll some of that on the clients. If someone sees another player moving unnaturally, ping it, put a little check, a notice somewhere saying, all right, here's an account, watch this account. Is that person, now we can watch that account. Oh, for some reason they're flying across the map at very odd rates. Okay. There's a ban.
There you go.
So,
I mean, there it is. So, that's PUBG, but in PUBG news still, we've got a pretty big story, and that story was dropped on the Xbox Wire today, that PUBG is coming to the Xbox One much sooner than I'm sure everybody thought, much sooner than I thought, December 12th, 2017. Now, before you freak out, this is not the finished version of the game. This is going to be through the brand new Xbox Game Preview program, which is early access. But this game is going to be available December 12th, 2017. I believe it's $30, and you are able to play PUBG on an Xbox or an Xbox One S. And there it is. I mean, we saw this. It was announced at E3 that this game PUBG was going to be
exclusive initially. It
was going to be exclusive, and is partnering with Bluehole to release it to the Xbox early program, and here it is. It's there. December 12th, you'll be able to purchase. I think you can even pre-order it right now for $30. Hopefully we'll be able to get a couple copies up, maybe to give away, and then try it out with. So that's pretty big news. I mean, obviously, right, it's just a press release telling you about some of the features and stuff, but there's not, there's a little bit of, if you want to read the post, it'll be on our website, infectionpodcast.com, but it's essentially just version 1.0 coming to the Xbox December 12th. So Looking forward to that, as I think a lot of other people are. It'll be interesting to see how this game transitions from keyboard and mouse to controller. I'm looking forward to it.
See if it's the same experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it.
All right. So do we want to move on to, actually, do you want to do the first game giveaway here?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and do
Just
that.
All right. So I'm going to put in chat. It'll be ! giveaway, and it'll be a 30-point raffle. So make sure you put, if you've been watching, the point system should be working this week. But that'll take 30 points out of your cans that we have in chat, which means 30 minutes of watching. So ! giveaway. We're going to be giving away a copy of the, let me make sure I give the right one away here. So we'll go and give away, what did we say last week? I'll do that one as the second one. Remember,
I know what you're talking about. Yes, it's a big game.
Okay, so I'll do that one last. So I'm going to be giving away a copy of Oddworld, which came in the latest Humble Bundle.
Okay. Yes.
Oddworld, new and tasty. So these are actually some games that the whole Oddworld series has been out for a while. So maybe some people that have played it back in the day, played some of the original Oddworlds, because it's been out a lot of different versions of them. But here's a link. I'll put a link to the Steam page. It's very positive ratings on Steam. And so it's been out. This one's been out since 2015. So ! giveaway, and we will roll for a copy of that here in probably about 10 minutes.
Coolio. Let's see. So we got PUBG out of the way. Now let's talk about H1Z1 for a minute here. So
this is the original. This is H1Z1, not previously known as King of the Kill. That we're talking about right now.
Kill me.
Yes. Right.
It's King of the Kill. That's what I'm going to refer to it as. We talked last week, TwitchCon, big presence, big tournament, and the big news, the biggest day in H1Z1 history was the announcement that Z1 is going to be remastered. And there was a comment made during the announcement that when we get back to the office Monday morning, we'll get started on it. And a lot of people, myself, my initial reaction was, okay, so you've done no work on it, and you're going to get started truly on Monday. And so I saw some people online say, no, they've working on it. And then this Reddit post comes out 5 days ago, and it reads, hey, folks, glad to see so many people amped about the new Z1 remaster. It's been a hectic week after TwitchCon, but the team has already begun to dig into the discovery process on the map, which means they haven't done anything. The discovery process is the first process into developing something. It's called typically in discovery, when you are discovering things, when you're looking at things, and it's just the discovery process.
Deciding how you're going to do it.
Exactly. I don't know how to describe the discovery process besides it's the first step you take. You decide you're going to do something, like remake a map. The first step is the discovery process. That's what you do. So they truly have not done anything. And then it goes on to say this is likely to take several months. So the biggest day in H1Z1 history was an announcement that they're going to start remaking the original map that will likely not be done for several months. That was the biggest day in H1Z1. I just want to wrap that back up for everybody, just to be aware.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but that was we were told biggest day in H1Z1 history. Biggest day is an announcement that when I get back to the office after partying at TwitchCon all weekend,
we're going to look at
somehow
to do this.
We're going to look.
Now they said here's what the Z1, because I think a lot of people are confused about what it means. So the Z1 remaster is a return of the physical space that stays true to the feel of the original map. So it's not the original map. It's not Z1. It's a physical space that stays true. And this is the wording of this just drives me crazy, the way they say this, because they're trying to be so PC about it. Just like say it in a way that can't be held against them later, right? So it's a return to the physical space that stays true to the feel of the original game. They have feel in quotes. Generally, the terrain, important landmarks, and POIs should be where you remember them,
like PV and stuff.
And we may want to make some improvements for overall navigation or gameplay, but before we do, we'll talk to you about it. It's not a return to the older rule set.
Give Reddit the keys to making the new map. That'll work out great. I can't see anything possibly going wrong with that.
So this is, and one thing that I saw is they loaded up. I saw they posted some screenshots of them loading the old map. Probably, I don't know, they're loading it and running around in it now. So who knows?
How is it?
I think it's going to be a big waste of time. Personally, they need to be focusing on making the game complete, right? This is just, for me, I view this as a lot of treading water, pushing off the release date even farther. Like, weren't they close to release on this? Were they supposed
July
to be
of
releasing?
last year was supposed to be released.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? Like, even recently, like they were getting close to being done with, assume done with it.
I think you're spot on with the phrase treading water. I think that's exactly what's going on here. What I am just completely dumbfounded by, is how, going through this comment section, how in the hell are these people so enthusiastic? There's nothing there's nothing here. This is like me saying right now.
They like the popularity of this. Like they like getting the pats on the backs of, oh, this is so great. You're doing what we want. We love you. We love you. And it's like they're getting that rush off of, oh, people like us again. People like us again. But this is going to die off pretty quick, right? And then it's going to go back to the old way that it was. And they may never even do it. I mean, we've seen how many promises and how they said they're going to do so many things.
They'll do this one.
But it may not. I mean, it may be some.
It's going to be months though.
Poorly done.
It probably won't be out before March of next year.
I just don't. I think all the motivation for it's going to leave, and they'll change plans again. Because so let's roll. Can we roll from this to the next one?
Sure.
So Just Survive then, because of this great, people love it. People love it. Now has announced and has put the original map back on Just Survive. The test server is running the map that they just switched from a couple months ago. What?
Brian,
what are they?
Brian, what animation is this?
They're rolling back everything they just did.
What am I doing, Brian?
Yeah, treading water. I mean, they should be professional water treaders. I mean, if you look at, they've just thrown out all the progress that they've made, or for whatever goal they were aiming towards. It's like, so let's say you're in the middle of a lake and you're worried about drowning. How do you get out? How do you get out of that? You pick a direction and you start moving, right?
No, you know how you get, so you're in the middle of a lake, you can't see anywhere, right? You know what you do? You just sink to the bottom. That's how you get out. That's the solution. That's the daybreak solution.
My issue is these guys are right now with their product. They're in the middle of a lake, just trying to stay above water, right?
Yep.
I mean, this product is on the verge of dying.
It's a fact.
And I thought what they had done is they'd picked a direction. Here's where we see the shore. We think the shore is closest here to be able to get out of the water and start making progress, right? And they start swimming towards it. Okay, well, let's say they've moved a quarter of the way towards the water and they're like, oh, no, I think that shore over there is closer. And they change direction. They're constantly going to be swimming in circles in the middle of this lake, and the game is going to drown and die.
Now, what I do want to say,
because they can't pick a direction and get there.
And I completely agree with you. As I'm evolving in my professional realm here, there's this theory of being boxed into something because everybody's heard this. We do it this way because of this. That's how we've always done it. This is why we do it. There's not any logic behind it. There may be a better way to do it. Even though the system you have currently works, there may be a better way to do it, a different way to do it. You can't box yourself into one idea, one way of thinking, one solution, one service. I understand that. And I don't want to say, well, you've got, you put all this time into developing the new map. You've got to stick with it. I'm not a fan of boxing themselves into that. But what the hell is this? The map update says, quote, the legacy map Z1 is now playable on all test servers. This is not H1Z1. This is not H1Z1 remaster, which isn't even a thing. H1Z1 is not the name of the map. And then it says Badwater Canyon, which was the new map, Z3, I guess is what you'd call it, is no longer available on test. It will be available on select live servers when this update is published. Trees, rocks, and cars on Z1 have been updated to use the Badwater Canyon harvesting mechanics. They seem like they are dropping Badwater Canyon. They are dropping the entire concept. They're going to go back to an open world base building system that's just going to be full of trolls, full of cheaters that nobody's going to play, just like the old Just Survive. That they are literally just reverting back. Why don't they just grab the executable and the build from a freaking year and a half ago and publish it? Why the hell are they wasting their time? Just give us this old freaking build. It's the same goddamn thing. The only thing that's updated in here is using the Badwater Canyon harvesting mechanics. That's it. Just release the old build, then fire your developers and move them over to the new, move them over to H1Z1 King of the Kill. There's the solution.
Well, why
just revert back?
They keep saying it's best to consider each game as a separate entity moving forward. They put a note of that in here, but why? If the other team is going through and remastering,
there's no two
Z1,
teams. It's a load of crap. There's not two teams. It's the same goddamn people doing both things. This is the problem.
It's now that they're both doing the exact same thing. If they're supposedly doing it side by side, they're doing double work for that's pointless. Why are they remaking the same map twice? Right?
Yeah.
So they need. It's getting to the point where they just need to merge them back together. I mean, what's the point of being separate anymore? They're not making any progress separately. I mean, they're doing the same work side by side, supposedly. It's like, oh yeah, this isn't this one. What'll be surprising is if the maps are identical, but they're separately made. Just happens to be a miracle that they happen to be identical. Every little rock is put in the same place, but they're separate games. We don't have any developers on the same place. I don't know. I have no idea where they're going.
Well, Val makes a good point.
And it's just frustrating.
Oh, it is frustrating. Val makes a good point. The new base building was based around strongholds, which were individual pads placed across. That's gone. That's no longer in the game. So
yeah, it's now base foundations again. They're now free placeable and snap together.
So
you get is 4 base foundations per player, and then you could snap those together. But you can't group those, right? So a clan can have 4 foundations snapped together.
They literally, Brian, would be better off just reverting back to the code before this new map. I mean, I'm not even. I'm not being sarcastic at this point. They literally, at this point, are just better off. We're taking that old build and releasing it. They'd be so. Yeah. Literally the last 6-8 months worth of work, they've just completely flushed it down the toilet with the new map. Strongholds is gone.
Because if you look, they started working with this new team for a year. And if they're not using any of because it was about a year ago that they announced.
Is that when the new map came out? About a year ago?
Mm-hmm. That's when they announced and started having the new developers.
Okay, so then a year. Just revert back. I'm being dead freaking serious. Find the build from a year ago, update the build number, and just publish it. And then fire and just move all those people over to H1Z1 King of the Kill. And then call it a day. Nobody's playing Just Survive. Nobody is going to play Just Survive. And the fact of that the
same group of people that were playing at the end of the old map, which was a small handful of people still playing. I think they were thinking people were going to come flocking in, but the thing is they haven't released. Why would you play half of Badwater Canyon? It wasn't released enough to even really want to get into it again.
No.
And so how they can't compare the two numbers. You hadn't released a full game yet, or even a partial game yet.
No. At this point,
it's so frustrating. It's the same thing. We're back in the place where we were 2 years ago. Also, of just this game is where's it going? Like, what's the point?
And I think I've said this a couple times in the past. I'll say it again. Just stop the development and scrap the project. Yeah. I mean, that's the solution. It's just
a waste of resources.
Oh my God. I mean, literally a year's worth of development. They have just decided they've just lit it all on fire and just turned in the other direction. I mean, how many times has this happened, Brian? 4, 5 times now that we've just had months or years worth of work just poof, gone. Because we've decided somebody's got a hair up their ass and has decided that we got to change the direction.
Well, there's got to be a point where, because they're owned by an investment company now, that eventually one of those board members are going to look and say, all right, let's get the numbers on Just Survive. Okay. How many sales have we made of Just Survive in the past year? Okay. A minimal amount, pretty much as little as you possibly could. All right. How many active players do we have? Like, what's the chance of a return on investment?
800.
How many players do we have a possibility of having buy skins or putting some sort of money into it? Okay, so we don't have that whole, so we've scrapped the whole thing where we had these bases that we're going to sell them skins for and all these things. So where's the money going to be coming from? So we don't have a plan. Let's scrap it.
I'm not gonna cover this in current players, but I'll just mention it now. There's currently 520 people playing. 725 is the 24-hour peak, and the week high is 1284. I mean, that's the status of Just Survive.
They're not going to make money off of that.
No,
and eventually they're going to realize this is a losing proposition. We're spending more on these developers that are accomplishing nothing. And I said we would give these developers, remember I said a year ago, we'll give these guys a chance. It has been a year.
We absolutely gave them a chance.
This action by itself for me just proved, all right, well, obviously these guys don't have the vision. Because if you said, all right, a year in, we're scrapping pretty much everything that we decided that was going to be new about this, and we're going back to the old system, which was, we already know it's failed. We already know it didn't work. Yeah, we already know it's pointless.
Been there, done that multiple times.
Why are they keeping the dream alive? Are they worried? I mean, people can't get refunds. What are they worried about?
I was so excited for the new concept of this game, it being like an MMO, it having these like weird base mechanics where the base rebuilds itself, and the rating was super hardcore, and there was alarms and all this stuff. It's gone. It's all gone. Literally, the only thing left is the structures. The concept is completely gone. You want to talk about the biggest day in H1Z1 history? Here it is. They have completely scrapped. They've killed Just Survive. There's your there you go, Clegg. There is your day in H1Z1 history. We have taken a year's worth of what, in my opinion, was great game development towards a big goal and just flushed it down the toilet back to an old, failing, crappy concept that we've seen implemented. That didn't work. So that's what we've decided now. I mean, just give it up. Just scrap the damn project and call it a day. Transition those, because there's got to be good developers on that team. Transition those people over to King of the Kill and call it a day. But end this crap with Z1, or excuse me, with Just Survive. Just end this crap. It's ridiculous.
So now PH and I think Green Man were making a comment. Like on test server right now, they've got about 1,000 people. So for the daily concurrent, but that jumped up just because the new maps went on there. People are trying it. Well, the old map went on there. Before that,
the old new map,
24 people were playing on the test server. So on the 25th, 24 people were playing on the test server. They announced this. It went up to 1,000, up to 1,300 on the 28th. And then, so the 1,300 was the highest, the 28th, the 29th, it's 1,100. Now it's just over 1,000. And so it's just going to keep trailing off. Eventually those numbers are going to go down. Well, let's look a week from now and let's look at the test server concurrent players. It's going to keep dropping down. It's just because this is something different and they want to see, people think nostalgia is great. You know what? That's not going to last.
Nostalgia.
People are going to hate it just as much in a month.
Nostalgia is great until you look at the details. I made this argument last week about Call of Duty. Go play the old Call of Duties now. They're remember how bad they were. Bugs, cheaters, hackers, disaster. Absolute dumpster fire. Yeah. But your memory is very, very good at disguising those things because you were having a good time. And that's the case with H1Z1. Yep. I had an we had literally half the people that are watching the show right now in the chat played original H1Z1 with us. We had so much fun playing that game. But it wasn't long enough ago for my mind to not remember all the crap we dealt with.
Yeah.
If
hackers.
If that happened 7 years ago, Brian, honest to God, you would just, the details would fade and you would just remember, oh man, this is a great time. I remember we used to do this, that, and the other. You don't remember what we used to do? Have to change the locks on our the locks on our doors 24/7 because they were getting stolen. I remember groups of people following us around incessantly, cheating and hacking, trying to kill our group. I remember logging in day after day to the entire base being gone and raided somehow magically. Open the farm, everything is gone. You set a timer. Literally, the second that the timer hits, you log into the game, everything is gone. I mean, that's the crap I remember, and it overshadows the great time we had. I mean, that's what it is for me.
I personally think that if they merge the projects again and just start using the H1Z1 maps,
Yeah.
maybe just start using the maps from the other one, because obviously these guys aren't able to accomplish enough to be able to complete it in a reasonable amount of time to make something work, right?
Yeah.
Just merge with the regular project, start using those maps, and then just put survival aspects on top of it.
There you go.
I
would do something at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, something.
I just don't see that this is going to go anywhere. They're not making enough changes of the mechanics to make it playable. They're not making enough changes the anti-hack, I don't think has changed at all. And so
No.
I think we're treading water. We're going to go right down the same road that we were at before. And it's frustrating to sit here and see it happen all over again.
Been there, done that. Been there and done that and multiple times, and it's not going to change, Brian. It is a lost cause. Let's get off this topic. We got other.
All right,
far more
important to do the game giveaway here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and roll for the first one. So congratulations, Valp1.
Yeah.
Long time listener. And I'll send you a code here. It'll be in your other messages here a little bit later in the show once I have a free second.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you, Valp. Brian, Brian, I made a very poor decision this week. Very, very poor decision. One of the poorest decisions of my life, I believe.
Yes.
That was the purchase of Elite Dangerous. I know it's shocking.
Nick said he would never.
Brian, I want, if somebody feels the need, would somebody please go back, watch every episode of the show and clip me all the time saying I'm never going to buy Elite Dangerous. Never going to buy Elite Dangerous. Never going to buy Elite Dangerous. You know what I did, Brian? Is I bought Elite Dangerous. Now let me tell you, Firebomb will not be your wingman. Let me tell you, it was on sale. That was the only reason I purchased it. I would never have paid full price for this game. And
full price, yeah.
It would not have happened. It was a low enough price, and I had money in Steam. If I didn't have money in Steam, I also would not have purchased the game. I had like $67 in Steam, and I think the game was $15 or so. So I went ahead and I purchased it. Obviously, Brian talks a lot about it, and I was a little upset because I'm looking at Discord and there's like 9 people playing Elite Dangerous, and I'm like, well, I must be doing something wrong. So I played some Elite Dangerous, and I love it.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Brian,
it's relaxing.
Brian, I've got to tell you something before you go on. I've got to utter a couple of words to you, Brian. You were right. Carry on with the broadcast. So I'll send it over to you.
This is Elite Dangerous is a game that I've been talking about for I don't know, like a long time.
Eons.
I keep saying, the game is fun. The game can be whatever you want to make it. I got to warn people though. You can, and this is something that I think that some of our guys are doing is they're pushing like for the best ship, right? And the danger is you'll get to that, you'll reach your goal, and then you'll be like, now what do I do? And I think the game is really made to be able to go out and kind of explore and make goals of, I'm going to I'm going to go and discover a zone that no one else has been to. Because the thing is, it's such a big game. I mean, it's a 1-to-1 representation of our galaxy. And so we have, people like Johnny who go around and he's doing a thing that requires like 100 and something jumps just to get back from, just because he wanted to go to a place that, other people haven't been, and go, because you can name those places and you can do all these different things if you're the first to discover it. And so that's kind of a side game in this. Or if there's people that are really into like economy games and trying to like make the most, and you could be into like shipping people, shipping cargo.
That's what I'll
this
be doing.
game tailors to, this game tailors to that. Then there's the PvP aspect of it. If you want to go out and do PvP, your bounty missions, you just got to find out like what do you enjoy about that style of a game, and go do that part. Don't try to play everyone else's game. Like figure out what makes you enjoy it the most, and go do that.
Yeah,
because I think that's the thing with this game has a lot of different type of players playing it, and you just got to go and figure out like what do I like to do most. And if you don't enjoy it, there's some people that get frustrated in the tutorial, right?
I was very frustrated in the tutorial. Yes. I was.
But the thing is, once you get past that, like if you can get past that, the controls actually are pretty good. Like you can do a lot with them, flying around and moving around.
I saw that app too.
You just have to learn them
on my Android tablet. The Mad Cat, or not Mad Cats, Christ, Rat Cats, RACCAT.
Oh yeah, Rocats.
Rocats is what it is. Yeah. I saw that, so now I can like turn on my floodlight and stuff from the tablet. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, and that's actually something you can use for other games as well. So there's an app to where you can have buttons, screens and buttons on your phone or your tablet.
Engage.
And if you want to like turn off certain engines or like have things you want quick access to, because we got people like Lance who have the voice actions, like voice commands, and so the whole time we're playing, we just keep hearing random commands being thrown out on Discord.
Landing gear.
Landing gear. And so
he's gonna kill me when he listens.
The alternative is you have like a little, and one thing that I was posting pictures of in Discord are people that are really into this game.
Oh yeah.
Some of the different setups that they've made for their desks.
Fantastic.
Of having these multiple, like 3 screens of all the kind of like making a cockpit at their desk, and then having it to where they have full rudders. They have
like this
like
guy.
All the exact same.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, like this.
What is up with this guy? He's got the full flight deck in front of him.
He loves this game because if you look, like he's got all the different screens that you would look at, all the different things about your. Yeah, so he's got things showing all the different statistics for his current, like his ship. He's got things showing the solar system that he's in. Stuff showing for the. That it's showing what kind of a station he's in at the moment. One showing full like around him. It's incredible. It's for people that like to tinker and like to kind of tweak and try to get the most out of their game. Like this has all that.
Interesting.
And so I'm just glad that other people are starting to enjoy it, because I've been talking about it a long time, and there's a few people who play it. But I was like, there's a really fun game to play. And I think now that they're going to be releasing the next couple months, the clan part of the game, to where you can actually group up with and have like a ship that's kind of like a space station for your clan, then it's going to get more of that multiplayer aspect. And we haven't even touched, there's still so much stuff that we haven't even done, like going out and really getting into PvP or trying to get our ships to where we can fight other people. I think that's just what we're starting to do. Greenman brings up, there's the killing bounties, and also like for engineers, there's a whole new engineer system to where you can even get your ship even better if you go and find all the engineers and have them upgrade. It's like a big long quest system. So, if you're into that, there's that whole system that we haven't even touched yet. So
haven't even scratched the surface.
Now we have actually have an interview from PAX that I did with one of the head guys,
the lead game
over
designer
at the studio. So yeah, the lead game designer. So I have an interview here. I don't know if we want to roll into that.
Yeah, we could do that whenever you're ready.
But this is one that I enjoyed doing. And this was before and I actually brought it before to him. This is when aliens were first, like rumors of aliens were coming up. It's common knowledge now. And I asked him for the interview. I said, I was going to ask you about the aliens. And he said, well, you're not going to get a single answer about the aliens, because it was very hush hush. Like, this company doesn't leak stuff. And
yeah,
so I don't think we talked about aliens. I don't think we really talked about aliens in this interview, but let's go ahead and roll into that, because I don't even remember what I said. This has been
we'll take you back in time.
Hey, this is Brian at PAX 2017. I'm here with the lead designer for Elite Dangerous, and Elite Dangerous has been in the news quite a bit lately. First of all, they've had things in the news with odd activity. Pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, there's been teasers. Something came out, was it yesterday, I think?
It did indeed, yes.
So it came out yesterday. I encourage you to go check it out. It'll be all over YouTube. I saw it on some pretty major sites just talking about strange things happening. But let's talk about Elite Dangerous overall. We've got a pretty big world. How big is the world, and it's not really a world, the galaxy, the universe, everything with Elite Dangerous?
So Elite Dangerous basically is more or less one-to-one representation of our galaxy.
Yeah.
So it's very, very large, something like 400 billion stars, star systems. It's a pretty big place. The human area that's been colonized is very large. It's maybe 100,000 star systems, but that's just a tiny, tiny speck in the actual game world. And it's all generated through some very clever procedural algorithms that are based on first principles for actually building planets. We've got some really, really clever guys, astrophysicists in the office, and they've worked it out.
So do you expect people to pretty much never see all of Elite Dangerous? I mean, you have a game that's so big that it will never fully be seen. Nothing will always be fully appreciated in this game?
Yeah, it's really weird. Hopefully they'll see everything that's good, lots of good stuff in there, but I can't remember the actual numbers, but it would take a vast amount of time, even if everyone was playing the game. Just visiting, it would still take a vast amount of time. I don't know, many years.
Yeah.
So
with this game, when it was first released, it was pretty much a space flyer, and you guys have done expansions over time of adding additional features to the game, adding additional features to the ships, additional people and landing. So what have been the different expansions that you guys have done that have kind of added to the game over the last year?
Sure, so when the game launched, it was, as you say, it was like a space adventure. You're given a few credits, a few thousand credits, a small ship, and it's go and do what you want. Be a pirate, be a bounty hunter, be a trader. Yeah. And so we've added to that many times, lots of updates. We've added updates that have allowed players to wing up and fly little squadrons together. We've added updates that have allowed players to take part in giant community goals where thousands of players are all trying to achieve the same end result or fight against it. We've had updates that have added a level of political intrigue on it. And then with Horizons, our first big update for the game, we added the ability to land on certain airless planets and drive around in small surface reconnaissance vehicles and scan and collect stuff and fight various skimmers and base defences. And then since then we've added, I've got to remember them all, we've added the ability for large ships to launch little fighters, ship launch fighters. We've added some kind of special engineer characters that allow you to tune up your ship, make it super powerful, make it like really personalised. And with the current update that we're in beta for at the moment, we've created a multi-crew feature where you can get up to 3 players in a single ship, taking on set different roles. Like one's the gunner, one's the pilot, one comes out in the little fighter. So it's just more ways to play together and have fun, and a host of other things as well.
Now, are you guys looking at adding any additional features? Because they're like pretty much number versions of just this 1.2, or you've been adding to, like, are you looking at doing anything next? Like, or have you reached the core features of this game that maybe then you'll add, kind of like you did with Horizons after that?
Well, it's really interesting. I think we've fulfilled all of our obligations that what we said we were going to do. So now the door's wide open, and I can't really give any specifics, but we hopefully we will be looking at the content and features that we've got and seeing if they can be improved, and also looking at adding more things, new things. So hopefully a bit of a mix. The game just keeps going, and as long as we keep, as long as it's supported, as long as the players like playing it, then we'll keep making it.
Very good. So this game has, I think, a lot of potential, to just, if you're a person who likes to go out and explore, to discover, or you like to play in groups, this game just has it all. I mean, I find myself, I have a hard time playing this game sometimes because it's so big that I know this is a big commitment. Like, I'm having to commit to this game, and if you're ready, if you're looking for that game, you're like, I can't quite get enough, or you maybe purchased a game in the last year that you're like, that didn't hit my expectations, I would check out Elite Dangerous. It's a great game, and I think it will do everything you want to do. So thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
All right. There we go.
And that guy, now I see him. I didn't recognize him at the time, but I've seen him in all the press conferences and
He's
like
a-
everything.
he's the
Like,
lead
he's like one of their main guys.
He's the lead designer, I believe is how you introduced him.
Yeah. And so now I actually recognize him much more now than I did at the time.
There you go.
So pretty interesting.
But
But
I'm very ashamed of myself still.
well, just you can keep crying while you fly your ship.
No, please, warp drive.
The shame.
Yeah, oh, the shame. The shame.
Still a keyboard command.
Yeah, I've got
coming
my,
out.
my keyboard commands. Yeah, I'm mentally ill. I'm with the rest of you guys, mentally ill playing this stupid game. Oh, God.
But yeah, so
It's
that,
fun.
at that time, I mean, that was an interview I was really excited about, just because I've been so passionate about this game and wishing that I could put the time in. And
now you
now
are.
that I've put more time into it,
Yeah.
It's delivered on everything that that I knew it would be. So,
Brian, would you be able to
So
post
I'm glad.
this in the show notes? This thing, a couple people have asked.
yeah,
for it.
I'll put a
Okay.
link to that.
So that'll be in the
I have
show
it
notes.
bookmarked here.
Infectionpodcast.com. Brian will put a link to that after the show is published.
And this has a nice. It's the best set of keyboard shortcuts and the most easily readable and laid out that I was able to find.
And it actually
really
makes
helps.
sense. Like
Just
it tells you what it does. Throttle up, throttle down, set speed to 0. Like it actually describes what the command is for a new.
you could have 70, 80 short key commands in here if you wanted to. These are all the ones that you're actually going to use. It doesn't have the ridiculous ones, for like chaff and all this other stuff. Like this has all the ones that you're actually going to use when you're flying around.
It doesn't even have one for turning your floodlights on. Which is very, very.
Oh, wait, no,
upsetting.
it has the one. Yeah, it has the one for flights or for lights. Toggle ship lights insert.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Interesting. Well, there you go. So that's Elite Dangerous. It's on sale till the 5th.
Are we gonna put that video up on our YouTube channel?
Yes, it'll be up on YouTube. It's out. That game is on sale till the 5th. As long as actually, and this is probably a good segue. Talk about these. Talk about a couple games here. Steam's got a bunch of games on sale through the what they're calling their Halloweens. Oh, excuse me, November 1st at 10 a.m. So you've got a day to buy these. Just kind of quickly flying down the list. Dead by Daylight game we've talked about in the past. 50% off. It's on sale for $9. Probably a good buy at $10. Doom, which the new Doom is fantastic. You can purchase that for $20. Friday the 13th, if you've been contemplating getting that, $40 price tag, a little bit too much. It's on sale 50% off, $19.99. 7 Days to Die. This, in my opinion, is probably the best value on this list. 7 Days to Die is 62% off. It's on sale for $9.50. Great deal. Force is on sale, $11.25 for that. Inside is a game we've talked about in the past. That's on sale for $9. Scrolling through, Outlast is on sale for $4. How to Survive 2 is on
Like
sale
I would
for $3.
skip Just Survive 2 because you can get the Humble Bundle.
The Humble
right
Bundle,
now.
exactly.
And
Dead
for a
Island
little
is
bit
on
more.
sale. The new Dead Rising is actually pretty good. But that's pretty much it. Some of these top games that we talk about. So these are on sale till tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you're listening to this after that, sorry, but it's probably over with. But it's been on sale for over a week. So maybe if you're catching this early, you can go. And I tweeted out a couple of these things. So I think Miss
Yeah, and if
Created
you
is
look
on
like-
sale too.
What's nice is they put a mark over the ones that you already have, so I can quickly see which ones I
Well,
don't
and it's
have.
funny
And
because half of my
I've got
page
most
is
of 'em.
grayed out exactly when which sucks because I'm like, oh, a sale, and then I look and I'm like, oh,
No,
all
like
the
I look at Resident Evil Biohazard. I'd be interested in that one, but I'd rather play it on the console. And they don't. It's not on sale on the console.
Well, there we go.
Frustrating. So, yep. Anyway, so yeah, those sales. I'm sure they'll have one around Christmas, right? Another sale.
Yeah, the winter
Or
sale will
around
start.
Thanksgiving.
Winter sale start.
Around Thanksgiving it starts.
No, it starts closer to Christmas. Well, actually, I don't know. It's so weird.
So there'll be another sale that'll probably be bigger than this one coming up here pretty soon. So
Yeah, absolutely.
many more games. All right, so let's see. So we have another thing we need to talk about here.
Yes.
So we have for Friday the 13th.
Yes.
we have our. So let's go through the roadmap,
Yes, sir.
because we said we actually have in here. They by Halloween that they would complete. You know, they said they had a roadmap here that said by Halloween, here are the things that we are going to complete.
Yeah.
So I went through here and I found each of the things and found where they actually implemented those things. So the free emote pack, they had on here a patch note that was from the 21st of last month.
Yeah, hold on a second here.
And I think that relates to this. That was the emote pack that they were talking about, that they included. So
sorry, I'm zooming in on this on a different program. Okay, there we go. That'll be easier. All right, so there's our thing. So we've got the emo pack, which
so
was,
we had the free emo pack that they put out on the 21st of last month.
okay.
And so that they did do. We had the clothing pack.
These were both.
So this was that 1984 spring break clothing pack.
Okay.
And they did release that. They have the part 4 Jason, which they put out. They don't put dates on their things, but it was within the last month. They put that out. So part 4 Jason and the Jarvis house, they put out at the same time.
Are those both in game?
Yes.
Okay.
So those are in game. Now the one thing we weren't sure about was the new counselors. So they had first Mitch Floyd, which came out first.
Okay.
And he is in game. And then just recently they put out Fox, who, from what I can gather, is in game. I haven't played it since then. So those are the two counselors that they said they would do.
Counselors, yeah.
And then and then they said that they would do new kills. And if you look, they have the part 4 premium kill pack that they put out for $2.99. Now it says get it soon, but it should be.
I believe our thing was that they had to do 5 out of the 7.
So that's the point. So we're up to the point now of what we said would be satisfactory in our view,
which was 5 out of the 7.
Doing it.
Oh, he said he bought it.
Yep.
It's out. Okay, so that is out.
Yep. So the pig splitter kill pack is what I think it's called in Steam.
Okay.
And so that is out. Then they have the new clothing, which is the costume party, which is like the fairy princess, the pro wrestler, the naughty devil, the Roman toga, skeleton, sexy cop, superhero, karate guy, army guy, and bunny. So that's $1.99. So that was released. And they actually put out something above and beyond the emote party pack number 1. So that for $1.99, they put out another set of emotes that weren't even on the roadmap. So now emotes are really easy to put in games, so I'm not going to give them a huge amount of credit. Mainly, you just have to test them that they don't let you glitch into something.
Well,
so
it sounds, Brian, and do you have your book?
Yes.
What did we
you want
say?
me to read the?
Read it back to me.
Okay, so on September 19th,
okay, so
we said we can no longer bash F13 if they meet the Halloween goal. Right. Up to new kills, and then we had a thing that Firebomb was going to have to do if they didn't.
So they have reached that point. They have gotten up to, and they did everything above and beyond. So what we have decided is that we will no longer be covering Friday the 13th on Infection, the Survival Podcast. So I'll go ahead. We'll pull that lower third off. We'll pull that upper third off. But I'd say congratulations to the F13 folks. And we're not going to talk about the game anymore, which means we can't bash it. So say tip top.
Perfect solution.
It's an H1Z1 solution. Just the car's driving is screwed up. Removed cars. So this is the solution of the problem. So
but I will say congratulations to that team.
Yes,
they
absolutely
have pulled it together because they had the roughest start. We had an opportunity to interview these guys. We got a commitment to do an interview with these guys, and we said no because of how bad it was going. This is one where, remember, I said you said that at PAX, you said they are not going to call us back.
Oh yeah,
and I said they would call us, or they would contact us,
and
back,
they did. But it was too. But we
chose not to do the interview.
No, we didn't see it until they sent the email super late.
having them on the show. We never never followed up to have them.
True, and we could at this point too. We still have their business card information.
We still could,
and we might. But I do. It all joking aside, of course.
At that time, I think it was such a mess that we didn't want to go on there and like harp on them.
Yeah, well, exactly, because that's what
they
it
really pulled
into.
it. They really pulled it together.
All joking aside, we are still going to be talking about Friday the 13th, of course, and we will still bash them when they need to be bashed, of course. We will lighten up on them because here's the thing. They have proven themselves that they are capable of hitting deadlines. They hit everything on this roadmap so far. Now the question is, can they and will they, do everything for the next update, which is Virtual Cabin 2.0?
I think they've turned over a new leaf. Personally, I think that they've realized what it takes and like what's ahead of them. And I think that they're pretty much know what they're going to do now, and I think they're going to do it.
Well, and then I would,
from everything I've seen,
then hopefully
they seem to have really pulled it together.
Hopefully, we will no longer have to be so rough on them because they did it. Yep. 7 out of the 7. They did 7 out of 8 things. Excuse me, they did 8 out of 7 things.
8 out of 7.
8 out of 7 things. So I would give a nice golf clap to the I'm being dead serious. That is quite a quite a feat, especially
from where they were.
Yes,
a year, like not even less than a year ago. Before this roadmap came out, they were missing every goal, just constantly missing goals.
Yes, that's a fact.
And they've really pulled together for this whole, and hopefully they'll do it up until. Well, I mean, we could do another bet, and I don't know if we should do another bet that if they don't make their December one, we then can have the right to bash them again.
I mean, we could do that. Is that what that snowflake icon is? Is that Christmas?
Yeah, that's Christmas.
That's Christmas. Okay. I mean,
so
they're going to hit it
2.0.
Yeah, they got to do all of it then. That's 5 of the 5
so
of
new map, new counselors. So 2 counselors, single player demo, which doesn't mean it's complete, but a demo of the single player challenges,
playing
offline bots, and the virtual cabin 2.0.
I mean, might as well do it. We'll double down.
Now this is the thing. We actually have, because they've announced what the new map is going to be, or what the new challenge,
the new game mode.
Is that what it is? Yeah, the new game mode. I assume that. No, that's not single player. That's multiplayer. I don't even know where that's on here. Is that farther down?
No, it's
where this would come in.
It's right up in the. Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah. Oh, on the roadmap you're saying.
Yeah.
New game mode.
New game mode. That's okay. So they're announcing something that's even after Christmas already.
Yeah.
So interesting. All right. So let's go ahead and there's a tweet that came out. Yes. Let's. They said Paranoia, a new game mode coming to Friday the 13th at no additional charge, but they have to always mention. And then there's a YouTube video which kind of gives a teaser for it.
Absolutely. Here we go.
Rated M for mature.
All right.
So from what we can gather, this is pretty much a Trouble in Terrorist Town style.
Which is cool.
Of game, which remember we said like they've got to come up with another game mode, like something else.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll take full credit for this. Yeah.
we said they need to come up with some other thing that you do, some other objective to make this game interesting. And we have a lot of fun. When we play Gary's Mod, we play Trouble in Terrorist Town.
Love
every time.
Trolling 10 and 12-year-olds on Gary's Mod, Trouble in Terrorist Town. Yes.
So I think if they pull this off in a good way, kind of like what Gary's Mod does, how it is in Gary's Mod, this could be a lot of fun. I think they still need to come up with like at least one other one, like something else to give it that variety, to really keep interest. But I think this is going to do a lot for giving people a reason to go in and play the game.
Yeah, and essentially, I mean, that's what it comes down to at this point. Right now, the only time that we've played this game, when I say we, I kind of mean like our group at large, has been when we have scheduled it for the most part. I don't believe I've just, and right when it came out, I would just open it from time to time and play. But since then, I have not opened the game unless it was a scheduled thing or somebody's asked me to play. It just hasn't happened. So I mean, that's what they need.
This will be interesting. If this is kind of like a modern Trouble in Terrorist Town,
that would
could
be cool.
a lot of fun.
I think it could. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'd very much look forward to that.
And I think, I mean, there's a lot of players in that other one, so like they could get this to where it has 12 counselors in there. I mean, they're doing it with a small number, but this is the kind of game mode where you could get even more people in there.
Yeah, and
once they figure it all out.
And we talked about we talked about a game like Rust, right? That has just kind of a trolley community, and Friday the 13th has that same similar trolley community. A game mode
like to embrace it.
A game mode like Triple T is perfect for a trolley community. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Well, that's what it kind of turned into, anyways. I mean, it's the regular game's been turning into more of this, of people, trying to kill their own teammates somehow, figuring out how they can do that, and just trying to drive everyone else crazy. Well, make a mode that thrives on that, which is exactly what that is. I think they should look at all these other games and say, like, what game matches what we could do, and just like with that, is there something that's a mod on some other game that we can implement as a core thing in our game, and let's do it. I think that's the best thing they can do.
For sure.
So, all right. I say, yeah, they pretty much, I mean, they hit all that, and congratulations to the F-13 team.
Hats off.
Yep. I'm glad that they've turned it around. Congratulations, Firebomb.
Yes, the biggest the
13
fangirl number one.
You should see Firebomb has a Jason mask that was custom made to fit his head, and it's all molded and it looks ultra realistic. Where it even has like the head part of it.
When we've talked about in the past, Friday the 13th was developed for a certain group of people. Firebomb is the group. He is the hardcore F-13 enthusiast. He was what the game was built for, not for us, Brian. That's we have to remind ourselves of that. That's what the game was built for. It was not built for schmucks like you and I schmucks like me to sit at a PAX panel and verbally assault the developers. Don't look for that video; it doesn't exist. So that's who the game was meant for. I mean, I'm excited. Again, all of these games, most of these games that we talk about, most of them we own, which means I've got some share invested into the game. I own the game. I want the game to succeed. I've invested the money that I sit at work to make into that game. I want it to succeed. Now, we make fun of games, of course, like F-13 because of their rough pass. But if that game succeeds, that means I got a great deal on it anyway. But I
didn't get such a great deal on it.
You're the best, Brian. And we succeed when these games do well. I mean, we talk about, why do you think we're so passionate about H1Z1? Because we are both invested into the game. So if it succeeds and it does well and people start playing it, that means we can play it. I'm content. It's the same way with F-13. Yep. It's the same thing with Elite Dangerous and Conan and Conan specifically. I mean, all this other stuff. I'm invested. I want these games to succeed. So that's all the bashing we give them. It's all full circle. Congratulations to the Gun Media team.
To the winner, Firebomb.
The winner, Firebomb. We do need to get them on the show now. That's redeemable.
Yeah. We'll get now that they've reached. I have access to them. So
okay, yeah. Let's get them on the show then.
I could do some.
We'll get them on the show. We'll get them to do a shout out to Firebomb when they're on the show. Bet you that'll be fun.
All right. So one thing.
Okay.
So one thing, so let's go ahead and move on to should we do the next game giveaway?
Yeah, let's do
here?
the next thing. We're about an
Get it
hour and
started now?
45 in.
All right, so this will be once again exclamation point giveaway. Another 30 points, and we're going to be giving away a copy of Borderlands 2. So this is a game that doesn't necessarily need any introduction. This is a AAA title. So if you would like Borderlands 2, currently it is $20 on the marketplace on Steam. So exclamation point giveaway, and you will have a chance to win it.
Yes, sir.
So, but Borderlands 2, and this is a game that's a lot of fun, kind of a mindless. You just run around, and it's got so many guns. It's kind of like these games where people kind of get addicted to just like getting coins, even if they're pointless. Like things flash on the screen. It's like, oh, you won. That's how it is with the guns in here. Like you're just getting
It's like
so
going
many
to a
guns,
casino.
and they all
You
have
just
different
press
guns.
the.
Yeah, it's like flash, like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
You won 50 cents, but it flashes a lot.
yeah, flashes a
you know,
lot.
and it doesn't pennies, so it's like
It makes the fake coin sound. It's great.
yeah. So I mean, that's how this game is with some of the guns that you get, but it is a lot of fun. I actually have this on PS4 and PC. I played quite a bit of it, so good game.
Yes.
You can play up four people. All right, so let's jump. Well, let's jump ahead a little bit because there's not going to be a lot to talk about this, but I want to mention Life is Feudal has announced their MMO launch. So for those that don't remember, Life is Feudal, Your Own, was actually something that was done in preparation for the MMO. So they were getting, first of all, some funding, and they were doing some testing and getting mechanics and things like that built into that game so that they could implement them without having a lot of people be able to see the actual finished product. So they announced that through November, so November 14th, people that have the Zealous Believers pack, so people that pretty much funded up higher, they can reserve their nicknames for their characters. And so this will be on November 14th. On the 16th, the people that are Zealous Believers can now access the MMO world. And then the people that are the True Believers pack can create the nicknames for their characters on that day. And then on the 17th, the next day, they'll have access to it. Now on the 15th, the Devoted Believers can reserve their nicknames. On the 17th, the Devoted Believers can play in the world. And then on the 21st, owners of Life is Feudal Your Own, beta testers and purchasers of the starter packs can enter the world. So on November 17th, people will have access to Life is Feudal MMO, which is supposed to be a huge game, kind of something that's been pie in the sky. A lot of people bought Life is Feudal Your Own, not even realizing that the whole point of it was this MMO. And some of the there's like mini games that they have in the MMO that were separate games that they sold that people have purchased. So this is a game that like I've looked into it and it's huge. It looks cool, but I don't even really know what to expect in the MMO as far as how people are going to play it, how close is it going to be to Your Own. But this will be something that we'll definitely have to try. So if you have Life is Feudal Your Own, you will have access to it on November 17th. So just a little over 3 weeks from now. So
very interesting concept to build, to make a game. Make the game you want by selling the game that you don't to fund the game that you want. Very interesting concept.
So they took Life is Feudal Your Own. They took all the mechanics. So like the character mechanics, as far as the harvesting, they took that whole part of it that would fit into one thing and released that. And then there's like a building your town or whatever. There's like a mini game that's like an overhead view. That's a separate game that they released. So yeah, it's
very interesting.
Life
concept.
is Feudal Forest Village. So Life is Feudal Your Own was $39.99. Life is Feudal Forest Village was $24.99. And they were but they're both were in preparation for the MMO. And if you look at like Forest Village, it's kind of an overhead, not like a Civ 4, but kind of like an overhead view of a village that's kind of zoomed out. So it'll be interesting to see. That's why I said I don't really know what to expect because I don't know how all this comes together into this final MMO. And I've only seen kind of videos of people riding around and just older videos that they put out. So this will be interesting to see. How complete is it when it releases here this next month?
Time
See
will
if
tell.
it's something that we get into. Yeah. And it might be a total grind. It might not be something we're interested in, but I'll have access to it. So we'll just show it.
Very cool.
McGrog is asking, do we cover Black Death at all? Yes. And I actually have, speaking of Black Death, I actually have notes in here.
Brian on the
they
spot.
have the 0.09 hot fix or 0.19 hot fix that they just released. Was a lot of fixes because they had the 0.19 version, which had actually introduced a lot of mechanics, but they released, and here's probably about 2 pages to 3 pages, or 2 pages of fixes that they did for this. And then they also added some new features into this. So they had an option to skip the tutorial quest. When you're being carried, you can now click repeatedly to try to escape. The bounty, if you have any, is now reduced by a small amount with each new day, so that'll decrease over time. They added a HUD option to tell your bounty amount that your bounty amount has increased. They added more Earls to the world to purchase houses, kingdoms, and peasant contracts from. Added a rumbling belly cue to let you know you're hungry. They added audio they said an added system for audio on drawing and holstering tools and weapons. Added some new audio and video effects, and then 2 new weapon systems, a 2-handed weapon system and placeholder animations have been added. Then they did some balancing as well to the game and some optimizations. So that's that game that originally, it originally was something that I bought, and it was a horrible game to purchase at the time. And I think they've really come through, and they're actually making a game that has enough in it to where I think here you'll see people starting to play it more and more. And we may be something that we play as a group, because I don't know how many people actually own it. But if it keeps going, maybe it'll be on sale one of these times. We'll actually play it as a group, because the last time I played it, it was fun, but I'm the only one playing it, out of our group. So it's kind of made to play with other people.
Great fun by myself in the corner.
But I mean, it's an open world game, and it's just me. So it kind of takes away from the full experience that I could be doing. So do you want to jump back? We didn't cover Arc. Do we want to jump?
Well, yeah, if you want to wrap it up with Arc, we can do that.
All right. So one thing that they added in 273 was the lay on bed. So when you go up to a bed, it actually puts you into the bed and you're laying on it. They added the capability for another players to lock handcuffs, players to seats, like in structures like chairs, benches, beds, etc. So you can lock people to them. Chairs within cages are thus very useful for transporting prisoners. So you can now put a chair inside of a cage, and carry people around the map, move them around, have them be your prisoner. But they did make one change. When handcuffed, poop now goes into your slot 1, which allows the prisoner to be able to consume it rapidly to try to commit suicide. Because before there was not really a way to kill yourself. Yes. Then they fixed saving/loading of lamppost light intensity value. And then there was 273.11. You can no longer attach floating structures when on a flying dino platform. Dropping inventory depositing /deposit structures onto platform saddles now counts them against platform tame limit. Fix some cases of turrets not properly shooting players. Fix some cases where beds were causing collision glitches. Can no longer place beds on pillars. And when a player is chained to a seating structure, they fix removing handcuffs through inventory to properly unseat the character. 273.2, they optimize spatial partition logic for large worlds like Ragnarok to boost for server performance. 273.22, they fixed the case where clients would desync, causing a player when picking up a player or a dino. They've fixed a case where the number of items inside storage would not be correctly displayed. And then 273.5, this was for today. This is for 48. Now on our server, I do have the Halloween event on. So people, if they want to go experience that on our server, I have it on at the moment. Go on there and check that out. But it's the Witch's Curse. It's for 48 hours only, so it's only until tomorrow. The black and orange spiders now spawn on the beaches. The Megalomania, the Titan boa, the scorpions, Megalosaurus, the Arthropleura, and the spiders spawn points change to various surface points around the map. The creepy crawlies are out to spook, and then skins can now randomly spawn in level 3 supply drops, and then quality of drops is increased, and the colder, longer nights and shorter days. And so I actually implemented the colder nights and longer days as well. So it should match perfectly the public servers
Awesome.
that we have right now. So that is where we're at currently with Ark.
Coolio. Thank you very much. Well, we got a whole bunch of stuff we didn't get to, unfortunately, like Unturned.
7 Days to Die, they had a patch.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Unturned.
The life we talked about Life is Steel. Rust, Hurt World had an update. That stuff will all be in our show notes on our website, infectionpodcast.com, for all of that. Of course, Game of the Week next week is going to be, this week is going to be Fortnite, which we've talked about. Pretty decent amount.
Make sure you get it downloaded
yes.
in the Epic launcher. It's not in
kind
Steam,
of a pain.
so you need to download the Epic launcher.
Kind of a pain to get, but once you get installed at all, it runs nicely. All right, so we got anything else before we get into current players?
Nope. I think we're ready.
All right, then here we will go. Currently playing H1Z1 King of the Kill. I'm not changing my graphics name. Currently playing this game. 14,093, 35,256 is your 24-hour peak, with the 70 peak of 50,935. Ark Survival Evolved. Currently playing this game. 31,091, a 24-hour peak of 47,014, and a 70 peak 63,146. F13, currently playing this game, 2,625, the 24-hour peak, 3,768, 4,609 is your 70 peak. Not terrible numbers from Friday the 13th. Moving on to the game everybody wants to talk about, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Currently playing this, 349,021 with a 24-hour peak of 2,237,373. That's a 24-hour peak, and the 7-day peak, which is an all-time peak, reached 3 days ago, 2,390,946. That is current players, and that's PUBG. So just kind of a quick note. Last week was the first week that the 7-day peak was not an all-time peak, but now this week it's back to that again. So
back up,
just for people keeping track at home.
And for people that are fans, make sure you check out Hot Drop podcast. Or actually, it's a YouTube channel. And he releases about every week, I think. So
yeah, I think there's a new episode out today.
PUBG news. Yep. All right, so let's go and go to tip of the week. Tip of the week's where I go through and either I'll talk a general gaming tip or for a specific game, since we've been talking about it a lot. This week is going to be about Elite Dangerous again. So this is tip of the week. All right, in Elite Dangerous, finding the best way to make money for hauling goods is something that you'll find yourself visiting a lot of different websites. And so one that I found that seems to be the most useful is a website that's eddb.io. So it's Elite Dangerous Database.io, so eddb.io. And it allows you to look up systems, stations, factions, commodities, etc. And so let's find you in a situation where you're out at some remote station and you're going to be doing a long trip, or you're going to be doing a trip to another station for a quest or something. What you can do is pull up this website and you can find what would be the most profitable thing for me to purchase here and to sell there, just to make a little bit of extra money. What you can do is click single hop route on that website, and it will show you, here's the resource that you can purchase that would make you the most amount of money. you can change settings like how much money do I have, or how much money do I want to spend on each thing? How many spots do I have for storage? And it will show you exactly the amount of money that you would make right now going between those two places. Then let's say you want to have the option to be able to return. So you're going to be doing trips back and forth. You can click swap, and then it will show you how much money you would receive on purchasing something else and bringing it back. So one thing that is also useful on this website, perhaps you have a quest that's going to be sending you on multiple jumps. You're going to be going to multiple places. They have an option for a multi-hop route that will let you go and put all the different places in there, and it'll tell you, okay, what do I buy here? And then sell at the next place. Okay, what do I buy at that place? Sell at the next place. So you can accumulate cash that whole time while you're traveling across these different jumps. So it's a nice way to kind of build up some cash, because most likely you're going to be saving up for upgrade parts for your ship. Maybe you're saving up for a new ship. And so this is a really good way to be able to try to get that. And for instance, with a ship where I have 100 and something storage slots, using this, I was able to just go back and forth between two stations and make about $1 million and 1.3 million per round trip. So you do that, you can kind of figure out, you might get bored with that, and then you go out and do some other type of missions or something, but it's a quick way to have a guaranteed source of income. And they're pretty good on their numbers. A lot of people actually have plugins and things that update this information, so it's fairly current. So that is tip of the week.
And thank you very much, Brian. I like Elite Dangerous. What can I say?
Yeah, we'll have to keep playing it throughout this week. It's something that you can do on your own, and then we're going to try to get into some more of the group stuff. Or
I wonder if this will play on my laptop at all.
It might. I don't know. I don't know how it doesn't seem like it's super resource intensive.
I'm
it seems
playing
to run pretty well.
I'm playing it at 1080p, I think high at 60 frames on just one monitor.
Yeah, and because you're running it in borderless, it's going to cap out at your monitor refresh rate. So it would probably go above 60 frames.
Yeah.
So it's just capping out at what your refresh rate is. So
yeah,
very good. All right. Is there anything else we need to cover? One thing, we have our server fund that we're doing right now. So
yes.
Perhaps consider over the next couple weeks giving a donation. We're really close to getting to $400.
80%.
We're really close to getting to the $400. We're 80%. So as soon as we reach that, we will be getting a dedicated server to put a couple different games on. That's on a fiber connection. It works really well. So we will be doing that. And I'm guessing we'll probably hit our goal, hopefully in the next couple weeks.
Absolutely.
So we have $80 left.
Yes, sirree.
All right. And then also make sure you go check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. If you are somebody who's listening who hasn't gone to our Discord, we get people every once in a while coming in. If you aren't a part of our Discord, make sure that you go to our website, click join server, and it's a great way to communicate with us, to be able to join into some of these games that we're doing. And so just make sure you click it, and it puts you in there once. You don't have to worry about it after that. It's a nice app that runs in Windows or on your phone. So I think that's about it. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter.
What about the giveaway? What about the giveaway?
Oh yeah, let's get rid of the giveaway. I was rolling on out of it.
I know. Brian's like, hey, wrap the show. Wrap the show.
Valp won the last one. So let's see. Are we allowing two winners in the same one?
You can't win the same thing twice. I'm sorry, Valp. Fab, you're a friend, but you can't win twice.
Okay, repick. I'm going to pick the right button.
There you go.
All right, McGrogan.
Sorry, Valp.
Sorry, Valp.
You can win next week. You can't win in the same show.
Yeah, you can't win two in a row.
That's
all right. So McGrogan, congratulations. So I will send you a key here for Borderlands 2.
Boom.
So yeah. All right. So I think we're good on that. Have I covered all my obligations?
I believe so.
All right. So if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, as I said, go check out our website. And throughout the week, if you can go leave a review, upvote, follow, do all the different things that will help support the show, or even just let someone that maybe you play games with that might be interested in the topics that we talk about just let somebody else know, share the podcast a little bit, and that would be a great benefit to both of us. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And that's it for me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Brian. And I'll throw this on the screen for a happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you, Brian. I do want to thank PHVCK for the awesome layout that you see here with the cobwebs and some blood in the bottom. I think it's a little bit of blood in the bottom right-hand corner. He always does a bang-up job with graphics on the fly when we ask him to do that. So thank you, PHVCK, for that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And hopefully you had a great Halloween. Thanks for spending it with us. Of course, we are here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. All the show notes, everything that we're talking about on our website, infectionpodcast.com. The new Call of Duty comes out Friday, so I will not be here for Fortnite. I will be spending all of my hours over the next couple of weeks. I probably won't touch Elite Dangerous for 3 or 4 weeks. And if you're interested in playing Call of Duty on the PlayStation, follow me on Twitter and DM me at Nicholas M. Craig for that. Brian, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it. Episode 146 of Infection, the Survival Podcast. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time.